She's one of our favorite people. I mean, she's just fantastic. I take my father to see her. Linda goes to see her. I go to see her. Yeah, I mean, the whole crew is on board because she's that cool. But please, tell them a little bit about what you do.
Sure. So I do kind of a variety of healing modalities because I have found that not one thing works for every person.
Absolutely.
And so I like to really mix and match what I'm doing here. So I primarily focus on acupuncture and Chinese medicine, but I also do manual therapy in terms of massage therapy, cupping therapy, gua sha therapy, which is another form of helping to release the fascia. I also do sound healing and energy healing.
Holy cow.
In various ways.
So a smorgasbord of healing is what you're telling me.
Yes. So that's why when people come, they can get very different sessions because you are who you are when you show up, and that's what I like to work with. And Absolutely. That can be different even each time you show up here. So it gives me a lot of variety within each session and, wiggle room of how to treat people best.
That's fantastic, because there's just so many practitioners out there, that are masters in what they do. And I use that lightly, but that's the only tool they have at that point. And their mastery only takes them so far. So it's really refreshing to be able to meet you and get your services, The session I had with her was this amazing combo of massage, acupuncture, gua sha,
Moxibustion. It's another, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, which when she initially told me about it, I was like, okay, I've heard of this before. I hear good things. And I actually felt tingles. It was really, really cool. Got some really cool results out of it.
Yeah.
But let me ask, what got you into all the healing practices?
Yeah, so I have been struggling with my own health since I was born, because I was born with several health difficulties, and basically I had a very difficult time with those for, up until my early 20s. And I was going to Western medicine doctors, and I mean, literally nothing was helping me, and they're like, the tests don't say anything's wrong with you, so therefore there's nothing wrong. I'm like, but I'm having all these symptoms.
That's such rough logic, by the way.
I know.
Yeah.
It's really a shame. It happens to so many people. And so I started, when I was living in California, I started seeing an acupuncturist who also introduced me to the tuning forks, the sound healing that I use. And her partner in her practice was an energy healer beyond like anything I've ever experienced. I mean, like I bowed down to this woman. She can see into I don't know, it's just amazing. She can just see into your body just by gazing at you and tell you what's wrong, and she knows how to fix it. So it wasn't until I experienced those two different modalities from those two people that I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that I'm really interested in. Mm-hmm. And as soon as my acupuncturist used the tuning forks on me, I was like, I don't understand what this is, but I need to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had just graduated from college. I was working in the nonprofit sector, had my nice 401k, all of that good stuff. And I just felt so drawn to leave that and do something that really helped people on a level that I can really feel and see on a physical level. Yeah. So I started out learning sound healing, which included Chinese medicine philosophy and acupuncture theory. And then I realized I have no idea how to physically touch the human body. So then I went to massage school.
Awesome.
And then
came after.
That came after the sound healing and the energy healing. I did that first, and because that almost came really natural to me. But then I was like, how do I touch you in a way that you feel really nice and comfortable? Because so many people have trauma and a lot of really intense bottled up emotions and whatever that you have to be really careful around.
Absolutely.
Including myself. And then I went to massage school in California, knowing in the back of my mind I always wanted to go to acupuncture school, but that came a few years later because that's quite acupuncture school is quite the journey in and of itself. So I held that off till last, but it's one of my favorite modalities because it makes sense in so many ways. It puts things together that are happening in someone's body that seems so different, but within the realm of Chinese medicine, it's just like a portrait that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So that's so reassuring to people who have been to many doctors and are like, I don't know what's wrong with you. These things are different. See this specialist, that specialist, that specialist. And
you're just crazy at the end of the day because no one can tell you anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's very discouraging.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to be don't want to say a beacon of hope. That sounds like very heroic, but
let's go with it. I like it.
But just a different perspective so that they can see that there is hope, because a lot of people lose that. And I know that I was in a place where I had lost hope, and it's a horrible place to be. So it's important to help people reframe what's happening in their bodies and in their minds so that they can start to heal.
Absolutely.
That's a long answer to your question.
No, I love it though. That was fantastic. So let me ask though, I mean, in this big grand journey of health and wellness and helping people, how do you deal, because I'm sure you come along these, with the skeptics, with the people that are like, well, TCM doesn't have anything to offer for me, sound medicine, nothing. How do you handle that? Go ahead.
I really like to meet people where they're at. So it's like, okay, what are the modalities that you're comfortable with? Mm-hmm. Massage. Great. Okay, let's start there. And then usually, after a session, or sometimes even halfway through the session, they'll be like, okay, I trust you. And so I'm willing to try these other things.
Nice.
And some of the things, especially the sound healing, I feel most people are like, they're pretty surprised by that more than anything. The acupuncture too, but people usually let me do sound before I poke them with needles. But yeah, it's a part of the process, and to see how they respond. And I never force a modality on someone, because I feel like that takes them potentially into a state of fight or flight. So that kicks in the nervous system in a way that's not beneficial to their healing. So I was like, okay, let's start with what you're comfortable with. And then if you're open to more, then we'll explore more. And it's kind of a step-by-step process. But I mean, going into all these modalities, I would have thought it was crazy too. I mean, before I started on this journey, I was like, that all seems crazy. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But, the more you get into it and the more you learn and the more you experience yourself the benefits, then your mind starts to change. So that's kind of the approach that I take with people.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Very, very non-invasive, non-aggressive.
Yeah, I'm not very aggressive. I mean,
if you couldn't tell already, right?
Sometimes you need to be with deeper tissue, or sometimes you got to do some needle relief work that doesn't feel really good. But, if you hold the space for someone and just say, okay, look, this is what I need to do. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. Then people will be like, okay, I can relax into this. And you just, you walk them through the process. It'll be tough for a little bit, but I promise I'll do a little nice, lovey things afterwards, and it'll be good.
Well, tell me a little bit. What's the biggest misconception that you come across? Like that all this is magic, or that you have some kind of wand that you use, or...
Yeah, I would say the biggest misconception, probably more for acupuncture than anything else, is that one session is going to fix everything. And that is difficult, because sometimes it does. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but that probably happens maybe 3% of the time. And the rest of the time, it takes time. It takes lifestyle changes that some people, to be quite honestly, may not be ready to move into in terms of dietary things and gentle exercise, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes it's their job that is horrifically stressful, that's really straining, and telling someone you need to leave your job to be happier. It's something that they know, but not something they feel like they can do. So having a conversation about even an aspect like that, and be like, okay, well, what are you willing to do? And if you're not willing to change that aspect, just know that you're constantly going to be dealing with a level of stress that your body has to interpret, and it will slow the healing process down. So that's probably the biggest misconception that I work with.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
This isn't the artillery, right? I mean...
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I forget the old expression between artillery and arrows, Western and Eastern medicine, but I mean, you're not here to bombard the health system. You're here to kind of guide it back to where it should be.
Right. Exactly.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Happiest moments?
Happiest moments?
In your career. What are some crazy success stories? What are some awesome moments where you're just like, I can never forget this. This was the coolest ever.
I mean, oh my God, honestly, I feel like I'm going to cry. My happiest moments are really getting to work with people. I don't have any well, that session was magical. I do have some of those, but to me, it's getting to do this I don't work every day, but many days of the week, and being in a space where people allow you to help them is really humbling. And it's just, I have a lot of gratitude for just that whole process.
There's something to it, right? When someone comes to you and they place that trust in you.
It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And, I know I look like a young punk in a way, right? So, I mean, people are like, how old are you? How long have you been doing this?
What could you possibly know, right?
What could you know? But, yet I think that's kind of what I try to do, is communicate that I am here to help in the best way that I can. And if I feel like I can't help you, or if we get to a point where things aren't happening as fast or as well as you feel like it should be, then I refer out to other people. And I feel like that's an important part of the process too.
Absolutely.
So I'm just really grateful to be a part of other people's lives in this way. It's just, that overall is my happiest moment, which keeps me happy.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
So perfect for Christmas Eve that we're talking about that.
Definitely.
Yep.
And feel free if you want to skip this one. That's totally fine. I'll edit it right out. But I'm always curious about the embarrassing moments that we come across, like the moments where you just have to laugh at yourself a little bit, or just something goofy happened and you don't know how you got there. Do you have any of those?
Oh, I so do. Probably in the times where I almost like trip over myself and like fall. And
you put that there, you trip over.
I have like some wires and like sound healing things that are on the floor, and sometimes I will literally trip over them. And usually, I was a gymnast growing up, so I can recover pretty gracefully.
Nice.
And usually people's eyes are closed, but sometimes that can be a funny moment. What else? You do cupping therapy, right? You guys and Linda. So like the farting noises that happen when you pull the cups off or you move them too fast. That's always like a fun moment. But for me and usually the other person, because we always giggle.
Yeah. Because we're all adults, right?
Yeah, we're all adults, but it's still funny.
Farts are always funny. Yeah.
So that's kind of funny. Those are probably the two biggest things. Tripping over myself. I do that probably more often than I should.
And you're still here, though. You survived them, right?
Yeah. It hasn't been catastrophic in any way, so.
Nice. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I would love to talk about you guys. Can I do that?
Now we're switching the interview. Okay. All right. Of course.
No, but I mean, because I think that's important for me, because, like, at this point. So I'll explain why that's important to me, because to me, you guys are both practitioners that are equally caring. And your compassion really shines through, and your attention to detail and your ability to understand the physical mechanics of the muscles and what's going on, but also the way you approach the body and going in and out and doing those nice, like, doing like kind of the rest stuff, like I said, that doesn't feel good, but then being like, oh, okay, let's back off and do something really nice so your body can relax. And that is a really hard thing to find with massage therapy practitioners. And I am just
thank you for that.
Very grateful to have found you guys here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a huge compliment. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's important. And I want people to know.
No, it really is. I come across a lot of people that have that no pain, no gain mentality.
Yeah.
And which is awesome. I'm glad they have dedication to what they do and they're willing to hurt for it. But at the same time, take it easy on yourself. You're a whole person, you're a whole body, and sometimes you need that space to just heal.
Right.
And it doesn't always have to hurt.
Right. And that's the delicate balance to play with. But I think just the awareness of that and knowing that you can do softer strategic moves and get the same results is it's just very powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I learned a lot of deep versus light versus, trying to find that gauge a lot with my dad. But it's taken a lot of time to realize that I don't have to beat people up for them to feel better.
Right.
Yeah, we can just actually help the body heal itself.
Yep.
Let it do what it's going to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's huge.
What's your favorite superhero?
Oh my God. What did I used to be obsessed with? I was like a big He-Man She-Ra fan when I was younger.
That's awesome.
I grew up in the 80s. They're still my favorites, but I'm trying to think modern day. I want to say Wonder Woman, but like the old school Wonder Woman, like who used to like spin around to change clothes. I used to do that all the time when I was a little girl, trying to turn myself into Wonder Woman. So I would say she's probably still, pretty much my top one.
Nice.
Yeah.
But old school.
Old school, like from the 70s.
Fantastic.
Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Could have done something enlightening like the Buddha or Jesus, but I chose Wonder Woman.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Just coming back to when we got to talk about my treatment that I received from her, that was a great experience, and I really encourage you guys to go check her out whenever you have a chance, because you won't be disappointed. I mean, everything from how you pull in to the setup here, because she has her own office. It's in your own.
Yeah, I have my own home office space, and it's on a separate floor with a different entrance, so it's really great.
Yeah.
Cats coming in and out. They don't come into the treatment room usually.
I'm sure they've seen some of the dogs come through here. Yeah. But it is very private, and I think that's another reason why I love this location so much is you don't have other people rushing you around. I know one of the biggest problems I had with working in a clinic.
Should I get him? He may want to be on camera. Come here. This is Phoenix.
Oh, little Phoenix. Hello.
He's our sick kitty. We're actually taking care of him.
Sick?
He has some growths on his neck. Oh, no. But he's healing. That's why him being loud is a really good sign. Good. Hey, buddy.
Just wants to be part of the interview. That's all.
Okay. Be on your way. Sorry.
What was I talking? Oh, yeah. Working in a clinic. There's, time is totally of the essence always, and the schedule has to be spot on.
Yeah.
And that's not really your choice, but the owner's choice and everyone who operates around you. And I just always had a problem. I just always had a problem with okay, you're in the middle of a story and out you go. I'm on to the next person. Or there's someone trying to get a hold of you as you're doing something and pulling you in a million different directions. I see you. I really like how you operate and how we operate in the sense that it's one person at a time. Let me take care of you, and we'll move on from there.
Yeah, and I always leave a lot of flexibility in my schedule, because in case I need to go over, I can do that without bumping into someone else's appointment.
Absolutely.
Because to me, the time that you're here, as I'm sure is with you and your people, at least that's how I feel, is that your time is very precious.
Yes.
And we need to do what needs to be done. And if we need to go over a little bit, we can do that a little bit. There's just to leave space so people don't feel rushed, because people are just rushing all of the time. That's how they live their lives. And it's if we can give them a little taste of what it's like to just make room for themselves and for their own health and well-being, that can make a huge psychological impact on someone, whether they know it or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was working with a gentleman just the other day. He was a little late to his session, and because he was doing an appointment with the nurse. So this was at a hospice care. Mm-hmm. He had an appointment with the nurse. I went over a little bit, and then when I got there, he was, really stressed out. Oh, you are just too perfect.
He's kind of addicted to petting. Sorry, I trained him that.
No, it's good. So he was already a little stressed about that, and then he was like, "Well, how do I need to lay so you can work on me?" And just telling the guy, don't worry about it, and you lay where you're comfortable at. I'm gonna take care of you. Just again, giving them that space to just be.
Right.
The look on his face, that's probably one of my happiest memories right there, is being able, again, to impact someone's life like that. Even if I didn't massage him, even if I just said, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you comfortable, his whole day's made. You know?
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's like that. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, the level of compassion. It's just rare, and it's sad that it's rare in practitioners, even in the alternative healing field, but from my experience, it can be.
Yeah.
Another thing that I love about you guys is that you don't how to say this? You've been to a practitioner where they just talk about themselves and their own problems. I don't know if you've ever come across that, but I have. It's that's probably the hardest thing for me in terms of receiving, is when someone's let me unload all of my things on you, and I'm here as a client. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I can't do that. And that's also a huge thing that I respect about you and Linda, is that it's just very clear that this is this is the client's time, and it's about you. It's not about me or whatever's going on with me. And being able to shut down whatever drama or whatever is happening in your own lives is really important. And again, another unfortunately rare thing.
It is. I've gotten a lot of massages. I'm like a massage junkie. I love it. But I will say probably most of the massages I get from people who know I'm a massage therapist. Well, oh, so you know this happened to me today, and I bet you know about this, and I like leave even more tense than when I got there because they just yelled at me while I was naked on a table for an hour, you know, like it's incredibly submissive position, and you are a pet junkie. Massage junkie meets massage junkie, huh?
Bodhi's my favorite fan, and really anyone's who's willing to pet him.
One thing I did want to ask you about, because it seems that I run into this almost all the time. Like if I'm going to an event and we're vendors there and there happen to be other massage therapists there, or I'm at a school, or I just, I meet another massage therapist, it's like instantly tense. I don't know why, but it always comes down to like this, like they don't really want to talk to me, or they, I just kind of have this like feeling of like, okay, we shouldn't really be friends because we're both massage therapists type of deal. Do you come across that? Or do you come across that with other acupuncturists? Like,
no, I totally do. There is this, oh, hey, you want to come into my lab? There's this very strange competition, but I think it's a part of our culture, right? I mean, if I look at it in that way, that's kind of how I explain it, is that people are like, oh, is someone better than me? That makes me feel bad about myself, right? Okay. So, I mean, to me, I think that that's what it is. There's this inherent fear that someone might be better than you. So it creates this weird level of tension and competition. Whereas for me, like, I know that there's always going to be someone better than me. Like, that's kind of the nature of the universe. And, coming from a place like we spoke about earlier of feeling humble about the place that we're in as practitioners and knowing that there's always room to grow and always things to learn, that kind of is like, well, why shouldn't I talk to you? Why can't I refer my clients to you and vice versa? Like, to me, the more the merrier. There may be some approach that you have that I don't have that would work amazingly well. And to me, like, that's what I don't like about, like when you work for a clinic, like non-compete clauses, like, okay, I'm leaving the clinic, I'm starting my own thing, but this person can't see me because of these rules that we place. But even if that person's more comfortable, like, to me, that doesn't make any sense. It's like people need to go to whoever can help them. Like, that is so important. And if we can learn to let go of holding on to that stuff, the world would be a better place. But to me, I think that that's what that weird tension is all about.
Well, thank you for explaining that a little bit, because I'm always like the doofy, like always got a big goofy smile on my face, wants to meet everyone. I look at everyone as a teacher almost. Like, there's so much I've already learned from you, and just the one session we had there, and the couple of times we've been able to talk. I already learned a ton from you. So it's always been weird to me why people want to cut off that access of knowledge and information.
Because I think inherently, that there's like this concept called the beginner's mind, right? Like, if we can always put ourselves in the framework of being a beginner, we're always going to learn from other people, and it will only make us grow as practitioners. And not everyone has that or wants to do that, and that's fine. That's their own thing. But it creates, I don't know, unnecessary tension that I think is just detrimental to our field in general. And if we could all be more collaborative and more open in sharing what we know, it would just benefit everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know about you, but whenever I can send someone your way because they just described an issue that I totally cannot touch on, but you can, I feel good about that. Like, I feel like, oh, I'm the man. I still got all the answers. Like, I might not be able to help you, but I still got all the answers, you know? Yeah. And I don't really, I mean, if there are any other practitioners out there who are kind of doubting whether or not you should send someone out, refer someone out, it's always worked out well for me. I've never lost a client because of it.
Because people are in the end grateful. I mean, because if they know, like, okay, you've reached the capacity of what you can do with whatever their melody is, then they can go see someone else and spread out the healing process. To me, massage is always going to be an integral part of people's lives. I think it is incredibly important. So even if like they need to branch out and try acupuncture or energy medicine or whatever it is, they'll still come back for massage because massage is so beautiful.
It is.
And it's so helpful on so many different levels.
Yeah. Role models. Are there any like big role models you look up to in the healing field or just in general, I guess?
I say my husband.
Good answer.
He's totally not in the healing arts field. He's an artist though.
Nice.
And man, is he a humbling experience for me.
What's that?
You know how partners can be. They just really reflect, you know, your own BS, if I can say that, without it being editing out. But it's, you know, they put you in that place where you're like, oh, I see that about myself. And it's like, okay, I can work on that.
Gotcha.
So it's in that way. Who else? My mom will always be like really inspirational to me because I really think that if she didn't pass in the way that she did, and if I didn't have this experiences and working with her in a healing capacity, I don't think I would have had the courage to leave my career in nonprofit and pursue this full time. Wow. So she's huge, and I still feel like she's there with me. And who else? I feel like there's so many, like all of my clients, my acupuncture school people, wherever you are in the country. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, people like you and Linda that I meet every day, like it's, I don't know, I just learn so much and appreciate so much about the people that I come in contact with. They teach you a lot.
They do. They really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to listen.
Yeah, exactly. That's the trouble. Get out of your own way.
Yeah, you know, it takes a little time learning that lesson.
Yeah. I'm constantly relearning it.
Oh. Then there's that
I'm not
part.
saying I'm a perfectionist or I'm not a master at that at all, but
it takes time.
Yeah, it
takes
does.
effort for sure.
Well, we got time, hopefully.
Yeah. Knock on wood for sure.
Sorry, microphone.
No. Oh, there was one thing I want to talk about actually. Qigong. So stay tuned. We might be doing some Qigong stuff together in the near future. I'm thinking we're going to put on some cool classes or do some videos together or something. I'm still brainstorming all of it, but I know you're a big fan of Qigong and all the healing that comes along with it. It's a great practice that I think you could take any amount of seriousness with and still get plenty of benefit.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do at home, and we want to teach more people. So.
And a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm more of a yoga teacher myself than a Qigong, so I may just be like hanging out in the background doing the moves. But
let's see if we can mix them together. I think that'll even be cooler. So just stay tuned. Just want to let everyone know that we're totally brainstorming something right now, and it's going to be awesome. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. I hope you got a lot out of it, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.
Thank you.